Don't think I need a puller. No, I don't. Look, she just come out just like that. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Yeah, I'd say that one was broken too. Look, it just came apart in two pieces as I removed it. It's a sunnier day out here in Springfield, and what we have ourselves today is a Go taxi with some higher mileage on it. Customer complaints died elsewhere that we have a bad clock spring in it. With the mileage on these, yeah, I believe that. So we've got everything we need to get that started, at least I think. Step one, disconnect your battery. It's in the back of these puppies. You supposedly can just remove the negative, but I like to do them both. You know, why not just make absolutely sure, as this one is going to entail disconnecting and removing the airbag assembly. So here we have it. She's an oldie, but she's a goodie. Let's make sure it's ready to rock for the local area's taxi service for a little longer. All right, so now that we got the battery disconnected and the car's rendered mostly safe, step one, or I guess that makes step two, is to remove these plastic doors from either side of the steering column assembly. Got one pretty obvious on this side, and the other one a little less obvious. It's the hole that the multifunction switch, cruise control switch, sticks out through. So that appears to give us access to some torque screws. I think that's probably going to be my next happy fun time, but let's find out. Relatively easy to get the airbag assembly module disconnected from the car physically. You've got two Torx number 30s, one here and one on the other side in a similar location, and they retain captive, which is pretty nice. So they aren't going to fall out. They're held in there. Now all we have to deal with is wiring. The single wire, that ought to be the horn. Okay, and then these two airbag pieces, we're going to have to pull up the clips to remove those. Now before you fuck with that, make sure you know where your face, hands, and arms are. Make sure the battery's disconnected on the car and say a little prayer. Ain't nothing going to go down this time, but never forget that that is an explosive device. Once you have removed your airbag from the car, place it in a safe location with it up. Never put it in a metal toolbox or something. But if you got a heavy gauge bag like this, it wouldn't hold it, but I know where it would be going. And it wouldn't go sky high to the roof or injure me too badly, I don't think. That's better than just sitting it outside. Okay, so we're going to call that rendered safe. Airbag assembly is out. Up next, we are faced with a 19mm bolt. I need to mark some things so we can see exactly where they are right this minute, but you can see what I'm going after is right there. So we're getting there, folks. Here's the new one. It is a Toyota part. I was staring at these instructions going, oh God, I don't think I can read that. But it turns out that was just there to make me feel better about the Toyota factory part. Okay, let's continue. I've got my 19mm nut removed from the center. That should be all that's holding this, and if I've done my homework right, I don't think I need a puller. No, I don't. Look, she just come out just like that. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Yeah, I'd say that one was broken too. Look, it just came apart in two pieces as I removed it. Real time live. Yeah, I'd say that's failed. Look, we got a self-driving Prius. Not really. So here's the old one out in my hand. Of course, it had come completely apart. Here's the new one ready to go in. Looks like it's in one piece. But I need to study these instructions. They're telling me something about how I need to be installed here and where this lock pin goes and several other things. Let me study over this, look at what I'm doing, and make sure I've got it correct. Installation and come out, it just has a clip, and a clip to hold it in there. No tools required. And then you got this guy with the plunger style release, and then this one here. So there's a couple little wiring harnesses that need to come off to get there, but nothing extravagant. So looks like I just plug it in. Let me make sure everything is perfectly correct. Okay, well that was interesting. I put this in and it obviously fit. Then I got done and I realized it's missing a whole wire connector. So I think that this was ordered for a car without cruise control or something. I'm not sure. Thankfully, I was able to pull this part of the module off the old one, and I'm going to swap it right over. I hope that there's nothing wrong with this piece. I mean, that's for your ABS. That is the actual clock spring part of it. So what the hell did they buy? Anyway, that's the broken part. It's all come apart. That's the good part. Hopefully the steering angle part of the sensor is still all right. Let's see if we can make it happen, Captain. All right, let's do a little bit of explaining about what we managed to get together here. So, all those funky instructions are telling you that there is a small window here where you can see that cable, and that's telling me that's okay. That's the way I want to see that. Apparently this cable, well, that's what rotates and unrotates inside there, and they want to make sure it wasn't all wound up, is what those instructions mean. Another thing it was telling me, there's a lock tab. It tells me to wait to break it off until I have the steering wheel installed. I found that somewhat difficult to do, but I did hold everything perfectly straight. That's all it wants from you. The clock sensor, or this guy, aligns or orients with the steering angle sensor on the back is clipped on and with the steering wheel itself. So that's not really going anywhere, but you want to make sure it's straight. All right, there's that. Next up is to put the airbag back in. Should be a relatively simple, quick process. All right, all that's reassembled and cleaned up. No leftover parts either. Let's reattach the battery and see what the car thinks about things. All right, the repairs are all done and it ain't mad about nothing. Horn blows, all the steering wheel controls work. Not getting any kind of traction control or ABS lights, which is cool. Still got maintenance required. Yeah, this thing requires some. Folks, 524,886 miles. This may very well be the highest mileage vehicle I've ever sat my ass in. If not, it's close. Wow, 500,000 miles. Okay, so I ain't mad at it no more. Yeah, that clock angle sensor can fall apart at that stage. And no, given what it took to remove it for a clock angle sensor, that was easy. So, all together, all happy, let's collect the money. All right, I had to fix one more thing on this before I left, and I almost forgot. Fuel door wasn't opening. You'd pull it and it was releasing the latch, but you had to push on it to get it open. Looks like she's working now. So what was missing was this little spring on the back of the fuel door right here was all missing. Now, those rivets are a little bit loose. This isn't going to sit quite right. So be it. Operates. Closes. Opens. Yep, good, perfect, functioning. All right, it's been a productive day so far, but to finish it up, we have ourselves a 2000-ish Accord, and this one's got an intermittent problem with the shift interlock. I was able to determine with a quick investigation last time I was here that we also have an intermittent brake light. When brake lights are working correctly, then shift interlock is no problem. If brake lights are not functioning, then it don't shift. Guess what that means? This guy, or at least that's what it logics. So this should be incredibly quick and easier to change out on this. Hardest part for me is getting my 6'3" into that little cave to get it in and out. But we're going to knock it out and make this quick. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, other than some shoulder stress, there wasn't much to that. So you can see we've got the offending unit out here and we got the new unit on the counter, and oh yeah, this one has a much more positive feeling switch. This one's real floppy and crappy. So this one, when it's out, it tells that the brake pedal has moved away from the switch. So that's how that works. And then it just lives right up in here. You can, well, maybe you can't see nothing. You can see where it would live right up on there. Maybe you can. In any event, my next step is to index it. I need to set the set nut on it in a similar location to where the other one is so that it's not all out of tune. And then we'll do a final tune on it. But let's go ahead and get it popped in there. It is in fact correct. All right. New one is all plugged in and installed. Why is that not in frame? There it is. New one is all plugged in and installed. So let's go ahead and mark that. WJ 1123. Illegible, but my mark is in fact there. Let's see. Alright, and I don't think there's going to be much fine tuning to do. I indexed it correctly before I took it out. So that made it real easy to watch that plunger. We might have extra excitable brake lights, if anything. But now let's test. My assumption is that we'll no longer have a shift interlock problem, and we'll have consistent brake-like actuation when we hit the brake pedal. Let's find out all about it. All right, proof is in the pudding. Let's test. Oh, this is a fine running car, and I've just met it too. I'm very excited to do some future improvements on this fine piece of equipment. But right now, no brake pedal. Ain't coming out of gear. Brake pedal. Look at that. Works correctly. It's pulling up like an inch. That's fine. Let's test again. No brake pedal. No go anywhere. Let's feel how far I have to push it. Hardly at all. Perfect. Just like I want it. Let's try that again. Button is depressed. Oh yeah. Right away. So that's perfect. We're ready to rock. Underneath the hood, this one's a Mighty V6, and it looks like it's in very good condition. We got a Delphi alternator. I don't know if that was replaced way back when or if that would have been an OE. Seems like it had been Denso. Pressure lines on the power steering, no signs of leakage, so that's looking beautiful. Excellent. All in all, this looks like an excellent quality of car. I'm very happy for it. We're going to give it a good look over and make sure there's nothing that it really super bad needs from me. I'd say it probably would enjoy a small tune-up as well, but you know what? It might be in a good state. That might have been done recently. Don't know. Sure does run smooth. Needs new hood struts. We'll discuss that with them. Those are so inexpensive, we'll make them happy. And on this one, I think that a set of headlight lenses, these aren't terrible, but you know I can make them sparkle and gleam. So that's a thought. Otherwise, though, this machine feels great. So, another day, another dollar, another one in the record books.